Hi everyone, this is Mindy Egan for lawnfawn, and in today's video, I am going to be creating a puffy cloud reveal wheel. I thought the puffy cloud would go really well with the I Heart Pandas set, which I am absolutely loving. I think part of the reason I love these little guys so much, besides the fact that they're super cute, is that for one, they're really easy to color. And two, a lot of it is black. I mean, they have quite a few black parts on them and black stands out so well against so many of my backgrounds. So I'm going to be creating a pretty simple scene. I have just the two pandas, two butterflies, and then I'm going to stamp three of the bamboo. I'm using the white 80-pound cardstock from Lawn Fawn and stamped it in the jet black ink. I'm coloring in my images using my Olo markers today. So for the bamboo, I am going to be using YG 8.7 and YG 8.5. And you're going to notice that I leave my caps off when I'm coloring, and that is okay to do. They're pretty small areas, and I do like to do each one individually or maybe one or two at the same time. For the leaves, I'm going to go with a pretty bright green. So I am using YG 2.3 as my lightest color. And then I'm going to come in with YG 1.6. And I'm just going to add flicks of that that's closest to the bamboo. Using the flick method is a really easy way to kind of add that contrast. For the pandas, I'm going to use WG3 and WG1, and I'm going to have it kind of fade out into the white of the cardstock. This is just going to add a little bit of coloring to the pandas. I think blue would also be kind of cute here just to add something to it so it's not so stark white, but I did go with kind of that warm gray. And when I say blue, I mean like a really, really light blue, like a BG10 if you have that in Copics. Now for the butterfly, I'm using two different colors here. I'm doing B2.2 and BV1.4. I'm going to line up each of the images with their coordinating die and die cut them out. And then I'm going to start working on my reveal wheel. I haven't made one of these in a really long time, and it really was like riding a bicycle. So here I have some of the main pieces die cut already. I have that larger circle, the smaller circle, which is our wheel part. And then I have a base piece that I die cut out of that main reveal wheel panel. And now I'm going to pop in the puffy cloud. So I already have some tape there so the sticky side shows through and it holds my die in. And then I can run this through the die cut machine and it's going to cut out that panel with the window in it. So I set that off on the side and I'm using the Puffy Cloud stencil. So this is a template that we're going to use to stamp our sentiments in. I lined up the one that has the four clouds on it and I lined it up on my white piece of cardstock that's cut to the same size and same shape. And I'm holding that down with washi tape. The I Heart Pandas stamp set has a lot of small sentiments that fit perfectly within this cloud. So I'm just using a small block and a black licorice ink and I'm stamping that down. Now, when I stamp it, I do kind of hold it there for a few extra seconds to really let the ink soak into the cardstock. And I'm finding I get really good results that way. Then I'm going to work on a background for my scene. So this is the panel that has the window cut out on it. I am using celery stick ink and I'm going to add that down towards the bottom and bring that maybe about a third of the way up. Then I'm going to come in with butter and I'm going to add that kind of right above the green. I don't want to blend in too much into the green. I kind of want to have a little bit of, I don't really want to say white space, but I don't want it to overlap completely. Then I'm going to come in with Merman right towards the top. And that as well, I'm just going to slightly blend into the yellow. As I start building my scene here on the front of the panel with the window, I do have that reveal wheel kind of just back there as a placement guide to see how it's going to look. And you can see I brought in some more clouds from the All the Clouds stamp set. I have learned that this is my most used Lawn Fawn stamp set. So I just one night stamped a whole bunch of them and added a BG10 marker and outlined the inside of the cloud. So a lot of the pieces that I'm adding right now are ones that are going to go in the background that I'm just adding with a tape runner. So that would be the clouds and then also my bamboo. I'm going to wait on the panda bears. I do want to add them with some foam squares, but I need to just wait a minute and I'm going to work on the reveal wheel part. So I'm trimming off any of my excess, including in that little area where my wheel is going to be to turn it. I'm also going to add the outline. So there is a puffy cloud outline that can go on the front of my card here, right around where the reveal wheel sentiments are going to be. Now, this next part is a trick that I actually picked up from watching Shari. So she left that stencil right on her reveal wheel when she did her sentiments. I used a brad and I added the small wheel into the back. I poked my brad through, and then I'm opening it up in the front. So it's going over the stencil right now. This is going to be really easy to remove later, but it does really help when you're trying to line this up through the window and that side tab. Now I added some foam squares to the small wheel, just making sure they don't touch that brad. And then I'm bringing it behind my panel and lining it up so it has that perfect placement. I will say that was a really great tip from Shari, keeping that stencil in place because it does help line things up a lot easier versus looking for these score lines. I removed the backing of those small foam squares and then I'm placing this down onto that white panel that I created that just has the tab on the side. I can remove my front panel and now I'm going to open up that brad and remove the stencil and then I can close the brad back up. I also have that washi tape that is holding my stencil in place, but that can easily be removed. Then I can bring my front panel back in. I lined it up just to make sure that everything is correctly lined up. And I can finish putting the front of the card together, which means I'm going to add foam squares behind my pandas. Now, you're going to notice that my card is going to end up changing. And that's because as I was looking at this, it just wasn't sitting right with me. So it did take me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do, but you're going to notice that it's going to change from what you see here. At this point, I really couldn't put my finger on why I wasn't real happy with it, but I did figure it out. So I'll explain that. Now, on the panel that's got the wheel, I am adding some foam squares all around the edge and in the middle so I don't have any saggy areas. I removed the backing of the foam squares and then added my front panel over the top. You just want to make sure that your foam squares do not touch the wheel. So I gave it a test run, everything is working, and now I'm making my changes. So I figured out what I didn't like, and everything felt kind of centered. Like it was all too centered. I needed my scene here with the pandas to be extended a little further. So I just dug through my stamp sets. The first stamp set I landed on was You Goat This, and I just used those pieces of grass to help fill that scene in down there. I also removed some of the clouds and kind of shifted them around a little bit so it didn't feel so heavy just going right down the center where my window is. Now I'm adding this to a piece of cardstock that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I can add that to a piece of cardstock made from the paper bag cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My last thing I need to do, my finishing touch, is adding a little image there so that the recipient knows to turn that area. And I got that off of the reveal wheel circle sentiments. And there we have it. We have all these really fun panda pun messages to go with our scene. The wheel is turning wonderfully, and I am happy with how this scene turned out. It was also a lot of fun to take this newer stamp set and combine it with something that's been previously released and also well loved. Thank you all so much for joining today. See you again soon.